today we're going to talk about symmetrical architecture. Hopefully you're all familiar with symmetry. Basic or reflectional symmetry means that an object has two sides or halves that are the same. You should be able to divide the halves by folding on an axis or a line of symmetry down the middle. Symmetry has been used in architecture, the art of designing buildings or structures, for hundreds of years and is still used today. As you can see here, these famous landmarks from all over the world use symmetrical designs. Now we're going to create our own symmetrical building.
You'll turn your paper this way. So whichever way you decide, you're going to fold your paper in half to create the line of symmetry down the middle. So get those corners matched up and then crease your paper down the middle. Now, it's super important that you do not cross this line. If you want to draw with your paper folded in half, that's fine. Or you can draw with it open, but you're only drawing on one half of the paper because we're actually going to trace the second side. So I prefer to keep mine closed, but you want to make sure that the center of your building is on the crease and that the outside edge is the open part if you're keeping it closed. So for my first one that I did, I drew a castle. So I drew one half of the castle, and then I'll show you guys how I got the other side done. For this one, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I think this time I'm going to draw kind of like a palace. So I'm going to start with a kind of circular shape. Oh, you guys cannot see that at all. Hold on one second. There we go. It's a little bit better. So I'm going to have kind of like the Taj Mahal or like the palace in Aladdin. It has like these nice rounded roofs. There we go. Okay. I'm going to bring this part down. Maybe there's like a wall here. So it doesn't matter what kind of building you draw, you can design your own. If you're having a hard time and you don't know what to draw, you could also look up some different types of buildings that are symmetrical and try to draw one of those instead. Like the Eiffel Tower would be something you could draw half of the Eiffel Tower, that would be symmetrical. The White House, the Parthenon, any of these buildings, if you can't get something that you really like, you can draw something that already is designed. So I'll add a tower there. I think this is a little crooked. So now, actually, put this here. Okay, so now I have my first half of my building designed. So in order to make the same exact design on the other half of my paper, I'm actually going to trace what I have here. So this is how it will work. If you drew lightly, you're going to probably need to, go back over and trace a little bit darker over some of those lines. But you're going to find a bright window, and you are going to flip your paper over and put it on top of the bright window. So I can't trace on my actual window, so I'm going to use this light tablet and pretend it's a window. So I'm going to put my paper on top of it, and let me adjust this so you guys can actually see the design coming through. There we go. So once you have your design on the bright window and you flipped it over, if you push down, you should be able to see your pencil lines. If they're too light, like I said, you'll just have to go back and kind of draw them a little bit darker so that you can see them through the paper. So if something isn't showing up, just go back and redraw it a little bit darker than you did the first time. So now when I flip it over, I can see it better. So I'm going to just go ahead and trace over exactly what I have on the other side. So now that I have the entire thing traced on this side, I'm going to open it back up and I can see my entire palace is right here. So once you have the whole thing traced, you can use crayons, colored pencils, markers, or a combination. For example, my castle, I used a combination of markers and colored pencil. On here, I'll probably just use colored pencil, but you can color it however you like.